Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. As I promised, I'm going to be doing a series review of the first era of Mistborn, which is Mistborn, The Will of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. This is going to be more of a spoiler view on the whole series as the trilogy as a whole. So if you haven't read it yet, this might not be the video for you, but if you have, hopefully we can have a discussion in the comments. Spoiler-free thoughts, it was very good. I enjoyed it pretty much the whole time. I do have some gripes about it, but it's mostly about, I would say about 4.5 out of 5. Each book, I have to look at the series as a whole. Each book is probably 5 stars, but my overall experience and with the gripes, I would probably say overall it's probably 4.5, maybe a 4.75. I loved it. But anyway, still in the spoiler free zone, I'm just gonna kind of explain what Mistborn is about. It is about Ven. She is an orphan, and we're living in a world where the world ruler, which is like an evil tyrant, did win the war, and you have a man named Kelsier that's trying to overthrow him. And the best way to do that is to get a Mistborn, which is Ven. So he recruits Ven to his team to destroy the world ruler. Most of the first book is really Ven trying to find herself, trying to find her power, trying to find where she belongs within this group. And it does turn out into like higher society and stuff like that. I did like Kelsier a lot. Like, I was really sad about what happens towards the end part of this book. And I feel like he was kind of the main character of the first book, even though Brandon Sanderson does a good job of setting up Ven as the main character you can tell in future books. But Kelsier, to me, and his group are the main character, and Ven's just kind of trying to trust again. She's trying to figure out, okay, how do I feel about Kelsier and stuff like that. So spoilers for the first book is Kelsier does end up, dying at the end. But my favorite part of this whole thing is when Ven meets Eland, which is the prince of the area that they're in, and they end up forming a relationship at this ball that she's in. And what I like about it is Ven is, for most of book 1 and book 2, is trying to find her place where she belongs. So she's very hesitant on going to this ball because she has to wear a dress, and it's a very big scene in the book where she's like, hey, I don't feel like this is not me, because I'm a warrior. I'm supposed to fight. Like, I'm not a woman that's supposed to wear dresses. And it's that idea of, the woman's role in society is really kind of one of the remarks that I feel like is being made in this. But at the end of the day, she finds, like, okay, like, I can be both. And then Kelsier dies. And then we get put into book 2, because pretty much book 1 is just, it's really all set up, minus when Kelsier dies. So there's not much, even in that 600 pages, us as Ven as a character and us as a reader are just trying to figure out, how the magic works, and she's trying to figure out her own power, and Kelsier's kind of going over her plan. She's trying to gain trust. So by the second book, she already kind of gets, okay, this is how, my powers work. This is how being a Mistborn works. This is, she has a Kydra, that, a creature that follows her that can change into anything as long as they have bones and stuff. So that's all set up in book 1. And then where book 2 starts is her dealing with the death of Kelsier. For the most part, and figuring out, okay, what's my relationship with Ellen, and what does that mean for me? That's where we start book 2, is her trying to figure out, okay, now that I'm in this position, what do I do now? And she finds out that she needs to be a protector to Ellen, and that's where she belongs in that relationship at that point. And then she finds out there's another Mistborn, and it happens to be a guy. And what I like, one of the things like I was kind of afraid of Brandon Sanderson doing is doing a love triangle. It doesn't happen to be a love triangle because this other Mistborn is more as example of maybe this is what you should go for. Instead of being with Ellen and being happy, maybe you should be with another Mistborn, because obviously another Mistborn is going to understand you at the rate, that you would like, instead of Ellen, which does understand her and does respect her power and everything, and does take in the right that, she's more powerful than I am. But at the end of the day, there is that, she's more powerful than him, and he's still trying to protect her because he loves her. And then it's, there's also this other, like, kind of overwhelming arc, which is trying to find the Will of Ascension. And once they find that, Vin opens it up, and chaos kind of interrupts. And you get kind of the mist starting. People are dying, and Ellen does die in this, but does come back as a Mistborn. So you kind of are starting to get, by the time we get into book 3, that power balance. Now we finally have a power balance between Vin and Ellen. So it kind of equals them out. I'm kind of in a mixed zone of how Brandon writes romance, because in some ways, yes, I do really believe that they love each other, but in other ways, like, I was like, they just met at the ball, now she's your protector, which, okay, makes sense. She is a warrior, she would, take on that role pretty easily. And then by the end of the second book, we're supposed to play the game of, oh yeah, it would make sense that they were married by the second book. I know there's a lot of time passes, but I don't feel their connection till book 3, in all honesty. And I think a lot of it is that balance of power that they needed to, like, understand each other. Because in book 3, you have it to where Vin, there's this force that they can't talk about certain things without the force knowing. So Vin has to be very secretive, and most of the third book is like, you just have to trust me. And I really feel that by the third book, like, they built that trust enough where he just trusts her. And I think that's where, like, most of the romance is in that third book. But the problem is we don't get a lot of Vin and Ellen. They're separated for most of the third book, and we don't get most of those characters. This is the thing that, like, I had problems with the third book is Spook, which is a follower of Kelsier, and I cannot remember his name, but the guy that's collecting religions. They become the main characters, where Vin and Ellen kind of take a backseat. And with a 3-book, layout, like, I was hoping, like, we would get more of that. Even though Spook's development in the third book is really good, because he he pretty much dies. He becomes a Mistborn, and he has Kelsier in his head, pretty much, helping him out. Um, but he but he takes a front seat where it's like the last two books has been Vin dealing with like all the trauma that she's been dealing with, and having Spook just being like, okay, I'm dealing with this trauma, like he's dealing with, okay, I have added power, I have this woman that I'm taking captive because they're trying to take over her brother's kingdom. So, okay, I'm going to kidnap this girl, and dealing with the consequences of I'm as bad as my enemy. And he really struggles through that through the third book, where the guy that's collecting religions, his big struggle is, what should I follow now? Is there one true religion? And he was, he's the follower of Kelsier, which is the fallen. So he has that struggle. And I thought Brandon Sanderson did a really good job with the fact of, like, the chaos that you might experience with, like, losing my religion kind of trope. I thought he did a really good job of, now I'm not really, sure anymore about my religion. And the main point of this is, who is the hero of ages? And I think this comes back to kind of a Robert Jordan kind of thing, like because in Robert Jordan, it's who's the Dragon Reborn. This is like who the hero of ages is. And I do like that for most of the book, you're like, oh yeah, it's going to be Vin, because Vin's been the main character for, the whole series. She makes the most sense. She's the Mistborn. When she went to the Will Ascension, she opened it up. And that's been the whole kind of, way of looking at it, to where at the end, Vin and Ellen die. Okay, who is the hero of ages? And it ends up being the guy that's been collecting these religions and has pretty much been our narrator. If you read the little italics, it's him talking. So I do like that he, overall kind of saved the story with that little twist. A couple other things I didn't like. I didn't like that, the Mistborn thing did become something like, oh, okay, now everybody's like a Mistborn. I think it was a little bit overused. I liked that Vin was like one of the only characters, especially through the first book, mostly the second book as well. I think the added factor of the second book with the added Mistborn, with that, with him adding that tension of, okay, now, what do I deserve? I think was good, but I think he overused the idea of a Mistborn, where I would have been okay with a whole bunch of people only being able to use like one metal. I think that would have been realistic. I don't think everybody needed to become a Mistborn. I think that would have been just fine. And yeah, the romance was 50-50 for me. I still felt it by the end, but the growth of it, I feel like we did not see enough. I feel like we had a lot of silent, like, moments with them where it's like, okay, they like each other, but I didn't experience that connection like I was expecting, where we might have saw it with some of the other characters. Yeah, but that's it's kind of my feelings on Mistborn. I really did enjoy this series. It was a lot of fun. I don't know, like, I've just started my Brandon Sanderson journey, so this is the first series I've read. I've read Elantris. The review is on my channel. So I don't know kind of what second era Mistborn looks like. I think I'm going to take kind of a pause through his whole series-wise and do some of his secret projects. So probably go to like Trust of the Emerald Sea. I have the Friggle Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, and try those books, see what I think about them. I also have his Yanadot Skyward series that I might try. But yeah, the next, I have the first book to the next era, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. But otherwise, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I am trying to be a little bit more better about my upload schedule. I'm trying to at least post on Thursdays, like a main video. You might see like an extra video from me depending on what's going on with work. I was really busy last week, that's why I didn't post, but I should be able to hopefully get one video. I would like to get two, just depending on what's going on. But anyways, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.